Alright, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for showing love with all the videos and everything, the past videos at least. Um, this story's been going viral for the past month and a half, basically since New Year's. Um, and shout out to China Deep Dive as well, because I like their review the best on it, but I'm gonna give my intake on it. A guy, pretty much a Dutch boyfriend that was gonna marry his love of his life, I guess. She required a dowry of 90,000, and he called the police on her. She did serve time and she did get deported. Wow. That's something you don't hear about every day, but let's get into it.
The day before the wedding, the woman asked for an additional $4,100 in dowry, threatening not to get in the wedding car without it. Unexpectedly, the man said, "I don't want to get married.
已经跟我老公
I have compromised with my husband and I can give up the 4,100, but my husband said, even if you return all the betrothal gifts to me, we can't get married. 4,100 is not a big deal to him. I don't know why things have developed to such a serious point that he wants to divorce me. I'm almost 35 years old, an older leftover girl. I don't want dowries, but even if I pay for a house and a car, it's still hard to get married.
If she likes you, you don't have to pay. That's how the saying goes. But with these women, they want guys that have enough money that could take care of their families. So the guy has to have money to take care of the in-laws financially as well. So it's not just about him and her.
Because the guys I go on blind dates with think I'm too old. There's nothing I can do about it. As China's economy deteriorates, more and more young people choose not to marry. According to official Chinese data, the number of marriage registrations in the first half of 2024 was 3.43 million, a 12.7% decrease from the previous year and a new low. Many young people are afraid to get married because of financial pressure. Many women require men to have a house, a car, and savings, and they ask for a high bride's price.
Okay, so the women are saying that they have to have a paid off house, a car, and some savings. But they never really specify what kind of car. We know they're not talking about a Honda Accord. They're talking about a damn Range Rover or similar. Mercedes, BMW X5, they're talking about those kind of vehicles. Family vehicles. Vehicles they don't have to buy once they have children. So these women want made men, which guys under 30 are not made, because the Chinese men, the young Chinese men, are just like the young men in America. They probably have to start from bottom and build their own little legacy, right? A lot of us don't have things passed on to us from earlier generations for whatever reason. But America's economy is just like China's economy. Everything's expensive. A lot of people are working low paid jobs, etc., whatever. So we rely on social media to get us through our hardships.
Dowry is a custom in Chinese marriages. It refers to the money or property the man gives to the woman's family when two people marry. On the one hand, it expresses gratitude to the woman's parents for raising their daughter, and on the other hand, it also represents his commitment and importance to the marriage. After receiving the betrothal gift from the man, the woman must give a corresponding gift in return, returning part of the gift. Due to the different economic levels and customs in various parts of China, the amount of the woman's gift in return is not fixed. Today, we will discuss the topic of giving betrothal gifts for marriage. The imbalance in the ratio of men to women in China has made it difficult for men to find a wife. It has been reported that the bride price in rural Jiangxi has risen from 40,000 to 70,000, making it impossible for some young rural people to marry. In today's social media era, several malicious incidents of rural...
Where's my 50-50 people out? Where they at? They don't do 50-50 in these cultures. That's some American bullshit. Understand that.
Women in Jiangxi province asking for high bride prices have been widely circulated. Therefore, this province has been labeled as a province with high bride prices. This Jiangxi blogger said that the situations in different counties and cities in Jiangxi are different, and the betrothal money in most areas is not that exaggerated.
其实作为一个江西人，我感觉很多人一听说你是江西人，
As a Jiangxi native, I feel that when many people hear that you are from Jiangxi, they don't have any other impression of Jiangxi. The first sentence they say may be, "The bride price is very high there." A while ago, an internet celebrity matchmaker named Wang Po came to Shangrao and said that the betrothal gifts in Shangrao were 53,000, 94,000, and 120,000. I feel that the betrothal gifts around me are not so exaggerated. Most are probably 10,000, 12,000, or 14,000. My husband and I started a business together right after we graduated, so when we got married, he gave me a symbolic gift of 14,000. According to Jiuzhang customs, my parents fully returned the gift and added 3,000 as a dowry, which they returned to us. Because we run a chain of stores in Jiangxi, we often chat with store employees from all over the city. What impressed me most was the very high bride price in Guangzhou and Liping. I had a shop assistant in Yudu, Guangzhou, Jiangxi, who told me the betrothal gift starts at 34,000. Generally speaking, the betrothal gift is given to the woman, who usually does not return it. Because a younger brother in the family will marry, the woman's parents will take most of the betrothal gift to her family after receiving it. Therefore, the daughter may only take a few quilts or $3,000 as a return gift. In many rural families in China, the bride price received by the daughter is usually kept by the family for the son to use when he gets married. In other words, the bride price the daughter receives will not be brought to her.
You know, it just seems like it's all about money. So, I mean, if you're broke, why would you even dare to get married, let alone start a family? It costs money to do that. So a lot of you put yourselves in bad situations. I mean, a lot of people want to have families, but if you're broke, you need to be focusing on finances first. Nobody wants, see, when it comes to, well, I guess you could say my people, black people, it seems like they're big on struggle love. I don't know why. It's like a mental illness. Why would you do that to yourself?
We're a small family. This gentleman believes that there should be a mutual understanding regarding the woman's request for a dowry and that the amount of the dowry should be moderate. Regarding the dowry, 20,000 won't buy you a nice car, but you can marry a living person to give birth to children and cook for you. So if you can afford it, give it. If you can't afford it, don't blame others if they refuse to lower it. After all, she has her value. You can find someone who asks for less dowry. I think we should be more understanding. The bride's price is just an attitude and a guarantee to the woman, so sometimes if you really have feelings for each other, there is no need to bargain over the bride's price. What is really regrettable is that a relationship has been going on for several years and finally ends because of the house or the bride price. Dowry is a long-standing cultural phenomenon in China and other Asian countries, but it's difficult for Westerners to understand.
Because most Westerners are broke and live paycheck to paycheck. And it's not something that they will really consider. Because, see, they know not to start this dowry shit in America. Well, first of all, it's a tradition. It's a long tradition in China. But if they all of a sudden wanted to start doing that over here in the States, it's not going to fly. Because, see, over there, you have women 30 and up, which are considered leftovers, and nobody wants to marry, right? And then over here in America, most of those same women in that age group are already single mothers and have already been on the pass around carousel. So men are refusing to pay for something that these women done gave half of the world already. You see what I'm saying? So nobody in America would actually pay a dowry fee. Mind you, back in the day, when fathers married their children off, their daughters off to other guys, you had to have something to trade, like farm, cows and stuff. You had to trade something for you marrying their daughter. Like, you had to give up something in exchange. So, yeah, a lot of this wouldn't fly over here.
A few days ago, a tweet published by the WeChat public account Uncle England said that a 33-year-old Chinese female student named Zhang was sent to Rotterdam, the Netherlands, to pursue a doctorate. She discovered that she was pregnant in March last year, so she proposed to her Dutch boyfriend. After learning the news of her pregnancy, her boyfriend was initially thrilled and started planning the wedding details with her. However, the woman asked for 88,000 euros as a betrothal gift. For the Dutch boyfriend, 88,000 euros is a massive sum of money, about the average person's annual income. There is no custom of bride price in the Netherlands, and locals generally believe that asking for money as a condition for marriage is close to fraud.
That's what I'm saying. You're selling women. It's like buying a sex slave to have children with. It's unhumane.
The boyfriend was shocked and began to suspect whether the woman was taking advantage of him, and even worried that this might be a carefully planned scam.
And I'm assuming this guy was white. I'm not even being racist. Because you know, if it was one of my people, we're not paying no damn dowry price. I can tell you that right now. We're too cheap. And a lot of my people think that they could get women for free. And then these are guys that never lived with women, let alone in a serious relationship to be with. Any guy that goes around saying that he could get any woman and has game, he's probably under 30 years old, still living with his mama, has no money, and a so-called certified block player. Like he's messing around with fat grandmas on SSI. Those are the women that you're getting for free. Come on now, let's just be real.
In the end, the Dutch boyfriend chose to call the police. The police subsequently detained the woman, and the court quickly sentenced her to 6 months detention. She would be deported after serving her sentence. According to netizens, the female student had been married before going abroad, and she asked for a dowry of 90,000. Later, this marriage broke down because they lived apart for a long time. This time, she scared her boyfriend away by asking for a dowry of 88,000 euros, and she was deported as a result.
When it comes to the money, it's time to run. And see, understand that when people get married, most of the arguments is over money. Not because of cheating. A lot of times it's over money that they don't even have. At least that's how it is here in America. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. It's a constant argue and fight over money, or say over debt, because most people are living off their credit cards. But yeah.
Some netizens said that according to European and American laws, asking for free financial gifts for marriage or asking for monetary gifts for pregnancy are classified as fraud. During the Chinese New Year, many young people working away from home return to their hometowns to celebrate the New Year. Although they are happy to reunite with their families, single older people are forced to endure their parents' urging to get married. I flew back from England a few days ago, thinking about returning to my village to celebrate the New Year. My family should be happy, but my father said, if you are still alone next year, don't come back for the New Year. Now, I finally understand why older young people are reluctant to go home for the New Year.
I mean, I don't even like going to LA to see my family sometimes, because then they're going to be asking me all these stupid questions about how come I don't have this and that and etc. So I understand. So it's like, they're going to ask me all these questions. Shit.
When you go home for the New Year, your relatives and family members will scold you and act weird, as if it is abnormal for those of us who are over 30 not to get married. Who stipulates that we must get married before the age of 30? The blogger said parents' views on their children's singleness are entirely different from those of young people. Never prove to your parents how happy you are not married. In their eyes, they think that single people who eat whatever they want at home during the holidays and travel when they have nothing to do are lonely. But after getting married, the whole family surrounds you. You have endless housework to do, endless New Year's Eve dinners to prepare, and you serve the entire family. That is happiness.
I mean, some people enjoy doing that for the new family that they created, but understand it's also a job too. Some people look at it as a luxury. They prompt all these people that they have to get married and have kids and everything. But mind you, it's a job that doesn't end. So let's say you work a job you hate. Then you come home to more stress to the family that you created. So you pretty much give up your, so much noise when I'm recording. So basically you give up a lot of leverage when you get married and have kids. And a lot of people now are too selfish to do that. Let alone do they want to pay a dowry fee and deal with problems on top of giving up their life savings over a toxic individual. Because most married people aren't happy. Let's just be real. Most married people feel like they should have married somebody else or they should have stayed single. And then on top of that, They basically bought this person to spend the rest of their life with. And hopefully they don't get divorced, because then that's going to cost him more money. So not only did he pay a dowry fee at the beginning, a bride fee, now he has to give up more money, alimony and everything else. What a mess.
How can you explain it to them? I have a friend who is over 40 years old and still unmarried. She is wealthy and travels abroad every year. We are very jealous of her life, but the first thing the elders said after hearing this, "She is so pitiful." I said, "What's pitiful? She has money and time and can travel everywhere. She lives in a villa and drives a luxury car. She is so happy every day." Why are young Chinese reluctant to get married? Surveys show that many people do so because the cost of marriage is too high. The woman usually asks the man to buy a house to get married.
Wow. What a relaxing life, right? That's the gig economy right there. Everybody's stressed out from working a regular job and then doing gig work on the side.
Still, now that the economy has fallen so sharply that many workers can't afford to buy expensive houses with the bit of money they earn, young people dare not easily enter into marriage. This problem does not exist in the West, so some wonder whether many Chinese women are gold diggers. In fact, in traditional Chinese culture, the man pays a betrothal gift, and the woman's family will also give her daughter generous gifts when she gets married, which is called a dowry. Therefore, in traditional Chinese culture, there is a term called marrying within your own class.
And see, that's the thing. I don't look at them as gold diggers. Most women in general all over the world, they want the best deal. And when it comes to getting married, it's supposed to make things easier financially. Even though married people spend more money, they also make more money together as well. Versus a single person that has a high income gets taxed like crazy. So it's like the tax return benefit is better for two people in a household. So that's one thing. But like I said, number two, it's a job. And see, they want to be with somebody that has a lot of resources in case that person gets sick. They don't have to worry about divorcing them, because let's just be real. If the man loses his fortune, most likely she's gone. He's going to lose her too. So that's one thing to consider too. So wouldn't you be pissed off if you paid a dowry fee to be married to somebody and then you end up getting hurt, getting sick, losing your job, lost some of your income, and then you lose her, she takes the kids and everything? It was just all a big waste of time. So that's another thing that men look at too.
This means that the family's financial resources, education, and other backgrounds and conditions of the man and woman are roughly the same, regarded as one of the foundations of a good marriage. However, under the impact of the CCP's party culture, these traditional rituals and concepts were regarded as the dregs of feudal culture and were abandoned. The worsening of the custom of bride price in China is related to the one-child policy that the CCP forcibly implemented in the past few years. The family planning policy has caused an imbalance in the ratio of men to women in China. The psychology of comparison and popularization has further led to high marriage costs, making it difficult for young men to find partners. In addition, Chinese women's demand for high bride prices is a consequence of the CCP system. In Chinese society, ordinary citizens lack welfare benefits and no complete social security, education, or medical system. Therefore, many women regard marriage as the only opportunity to change their fate in their social class.
You hear that? Most women, I think in general, if they do want to be married, it's because they want it to be uplifting. Women look at it from a business perspective, while men fall in love with the prettiest girl and wants to marry a pretty girl, but the pretty girl is going to want pretty privilege as well. You have to uplift this pretty girl financially and socially. So not only do you have to have money, you got to have some social class too. It has nothing to do with game. See, back here in the States, we talk about game so much, unless that's just a hood thing. But if you don't have any money, your game is pretty much pointless. So it helps to have game if you have money as well. Because if all you have is game, you're just hooking up and pretty much, I don't know, it's whatever.
Under the heavy pressure of life, some women will be picky and ask for exorbitant bride prices. The less developed the economy is, the higher the bride prices. The essence of the betrothal gift is the starting fund for the newlyweds' families. It's not advisable to ask for too high betrothal gift. Some young people choose to have a naked marriage, which means that they do not give a betrothal gift or even hold a wedding ceremony. The two of them get married directly. The blogger said that she disapproves of naked marriage. Before marriage, two people may be in love, but after marriage, they have to face the daily necessities of life. As the saying goes, poor couples are sad about everything. If money is involved, couples are most likely to fall out.
是不太赞成裸婚的。
I disagree with naked marriage because the child's upbringing fund is costly nowadays. Many children need to go to after-school classes, learn some skills, and buy a house and a car. Think about it, our average salary is about $700 now. A home costs more than $140,000 and various aspects of our living expenses. If we hadn't bought a house in advance and had nothing, working hard on our own would have been tough. Of course, some start from scratch are capable, but such cases are still rare. You can see that most divorces nowadays are due to family conflicts or problems with economic interests, which still account for the vast majority. So I think that when a girl gets married, she still needs to consider the man's family conditions. The blogger said that it's irresponsible for a man to get married and have children when he has no material conditions at all.
I could just kiss her right now. Finally, somebody that makes sense, that understands it. I've been saying this for the longest. If you ain't got shit, you had no business getting married. Nobody wants to do that struggle love shit. This ain't America, this is China. And they telling you not to do that shit.
你有没有发现，好像大家都在骂彩礼？
Have you noticed that everyone seems to complain about the bride price?
Yeah.
But rich people don't care about that little bit of money, they just give it. So those who complain about the bride price are people like us from the lower class. But the problem is that the lower class are the ones who need the bride price the most. For girls like us who were born in the lower class, especially during the childbearing period, if I had a dowry at this time as a guarantee for childbirth and a reserve fund for the family, in case the other party is really not a good person or something unexpected happens, we can use this money to support myself and my children when I am weakest and most helpless.
And basically, if your family's a shit show, then the dowry is not going to do you any good. Because you have to have money and you have to come from a good background. So if you don't get along with none of your family, you're not close to none of your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever you have, whoever you have left that's alive in your family, then they look at that too, and basically you're no good for marriage.
Moreover, girls will face physical damage when giving birth, so it's very fair for men to pay part of the money in advance. There was no need to scold them. As a result, many men scolded the girl for asking for a dowry, saying that her family was selling their daughter. The girl's parent took away the dowry and gave it to her brother. Blogger Ma Feifei advised single brothers, suggesting that if they want to get married, they should not go on blind dates but find a girlfriend on their own. Once the two have feelings for each other, they will not have to pay so much for the bride price. If you are an older single man who wants to get married, don't go on blind dates, especially if the guy is short, average looking, and has average family conditions. Don't waste your time. I am also from the countryside. In my hometown in Hernan, if a girl is in a family, her aunts and uncles, neighbors will introduce her to potential partners. It's not a problem to meet 3 or 5 people a day. Some have better family conditions than you, some are willing to spend more money than you, and some are better at flattering than you. Dating on your own is quite different from blind dating. If you are dating alone, you don't have that many competitors and will still have a chance of success.
I disagree with that, especially here in the States. If you're dating on your own without being introduced through friends or family, you're competing with like 10 other guys at the same time, because most of these girls are talking to like 5 to 10 dudes at one time. So you're basically in her rotation. So that'll be a waste of time.
But if you are on a blind date, everyone puts their conditions on the table and she will choose whoever has the best conditions. Nowadays, girls date for dating and blind dating is blind dating. The standards of the two are entirely different. When you are in love, as long as you can coax and make the girl happy, all is good. In blind dating, a little less is unacceptable regarding objective conditions. If you are dating a girlfriend, it's understandable that the gift is a little less. After all, you have been in love for several years, but if she wants a gift of 40,000 for a blind date, you have to pay 40,000 if you can't afford it, but someone can. Some financially independent girls believe that it's better to have nothing than substandard choices regarding marriage and are reluctant to get married. As a result, they miss out on their best years. People call them leftover women. These older leftover women are generally modern urban women who have high education, high income, high IQ, and good looks, but because they have high requirements for their spouse, they have never found their home in marriage. These women started working hard for their careers after graduating from school and only realized when they were successful that they had become leftover women in the eyes of others.
我是一个35、6岁的大龄剩女。
I am a 35-year-old single woman who did not go home for this year's Chinese New Year. If given another chance, I would get married in my 20s and never wait until this age. When you are in your 30s, you will find that there are very few normal people of the opposite sex around you, let alone any requirements. Finding someone you can chat with and have topics to discuss is tough. After getting in touch with them, you will find that many people's values and living habits are quite incompatible. So, if you are a girl or a boy who wants to find a partner, you must find one in your 20s.
And that's kind of tough. Because see, I always compare the West to China. That's why I do these China videos. Here in the West, people are told not to settle in their 20s. But then they end up having a hard time when they're in their 30s when they do want to settle. But then even though they tell these women or men not to settle in their 20s, they still have a kid or two when they're in their 20s. People are still out here getting pregnant and having kids. Not at a high rate, but yeah. So that'll mess up their chances too when they get older, when they actually want to be serious. And due to all this red pill content that's out floating around YouTube, people are telling these guys not to marry these single mothers. Especially if the baby father is still alive. So there's going to be a lot of jealousy they'll have to deal with, a lot of threats and everything, and it's just not even worth it. But that's just how it is on the West side. But on this side, you either going to settle and work on your career and deal with being leftovers, or you're going to be about your family when you're in your 20s and start your own family and find a man that makes 2-3 times more money than you do.
It's time to get married. There is nothing to be afraid of in marriage. It's just an experience.
But anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a nice little video. I just thought I'd get that out there because I keep seeing videos all over the social media about this going viral. And I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.